התוצאות המבצעיות הן מרשימות מאוד. מחצית ממפקדי חיזבאללה בדרום לבנון חוסל. אלה האנשים שהיו אחראים על הפעולה ההתקפית, על הרצון לפגוע באזרחי מדינת ישראל. אנחנו גרמנו לכך שאו שהם מתים או שהם מתחבאים ומפקירים את דרום לבנון לפעולתו של צה"ל שנעשית באופן אינטנסיבי.
We came out today to call for the immediate release of all hostages, even in the name of not continuing this awful, horrible war that has killed the hostages up till now. And we hope that our message will be heard by the people who are responsible, and that they will come back now.
Well, you can expect 3 fantastic shows during our show week in May. It's the 7th time we are producing the Eurovision Song Contest, and we've done it 2 years in the near background, and a lot of the team members are people who's been working with it before and have a lot of experience. So we have a great team, and you can expect some smashing, fantastic shows. This is just something very special, having people from 84 countries coming to Malmö and coming to Sweden to celebrate all this. And this is my focus, and I really hope that people will feel this and be united by music, this strong feeling this week.
Stad för Eurovision Song Contest. Under Eurovision, och det är tillsammans med de här 4 aktörerna som vi och hållbarhetsdirektör för Malmö stad, Petra Stenkula.
The situation around the world is complex, and also the security for Sweden is different. But we've lived with this last year and a couple of years now, and we are ready for anything that can happen. But we hope this will be a party, a music party, and the police will look forward to it.
Här och besökte, och alla som har tittat. Nu så avslutar vi
There's a high threat level combined with a lot of people. We had a big conference 2 years ago concerning anti-Semitism with a high-level decision makers from European countries that had very high security levels. But there were not that many visitors at that venue. This time we have more high security levels and many visitors, and that's a challenge.
Vi är måna om vårt Malmö och det stora värde.
Difficult to
about Malmö hosting it.
Yes.
So, and you know, obviously.
الشعور بنتيجة مشاركة إسرائيل في مسابقة اليوروفيشن هو شعور صعب جدا. هو فيه عدة أشياء، مثل شعور بالغضب، شعور بالحزن، شعور بعدم العدالة وبعدم الإنسانية اللي موجودة في المجتمعات الأوروبية والمجتمع بشكل عام في العالم كله، بحيث أنه يقبل القاتل والجاني يمثل حاله في مهرجان سينمائي أو مهرجان موسيقي. هذا المهرجان الموسيقي اللي لازم يكون يعبر عن الموسيقى والفرح، ولكن في هذه الحالة بمشاركة إسرائيل رح يعبر عن قبول القاتل وتزيين القاتل والتأكيد على الأعمال اللي هو بيعملها.
שלי אומרת, וואי, אין לי מושג למי ללכת ביום העצמאות. It wasn't a war on the 7th. It was beyond a war. It was beyond any human being to understand or to even realize that people could behave like that. And I'm a proof. I was there. I saw them. I saw them treat me like that, and Keith and the other hostages in such a brutal way. And they took us in a very brutal way. They pushed us, they pulled my hair, and they pushed us. While they pushed us, they broke Keith's ribs, and they shot his hand. And they took us in Keith's car. His pants were full of blood, and I was the only one that took care of Keith. He could hardly breathe because of the ribs. Keith and I were moved 13 times, so we met lots of terrorists and lots of very, very mean people that were very, very brutal to us every time. The terrorist told her to go and have a shower, so she was naked in the shower, and he stepped in naked with a gun towards her head and told her to do different things that are very difficult for me to say and hard for me to even think about any human being going through what she went through. And he touched her and threatened her and told her if she doesn't do what he said, he will kill her. And she was completely and utterly in a trauma after going through that. One of the days they called one of the girls out of the room, and he brought her back, the terrorist, pushing her and told her get dressed. And while she started getting dressed, they used to dress us looking like Arabs. She turned around and she said that she's scared that they're going to take her and she's going to be alone. And while she said that, he pulled her hair and threw her on the floor with the gun and was screaming and hit her and told her to get up. They took her to the next room next to us, and he took a blanket, and one of the girls said to me, "Put your fingers in your ears, you don't want to hear that." And I did that, but I heard. They handcuffed her and they hit her on her whole body. I've been married to Keith for 43 years, and he's always been with me when I've had a hard time. He was there for me in Gaza for 51 days, all the time, and I'm not there for him, and it breaks my heart. I'm torn into pieces. It's very hard for me to handle the situation that Keith is going through hell, being starved, thirsty. They used to just eat in front of us while they starved us. We had to lie down from 5 o'clock until 10 o'clock the next day. We weren't allowed to move at all. We weren't allowed to whisper. We weren't allowed to talk. They made it dark so we could hardly see each other. The terrorists there told us to pray to Allah in Arabic with him, and that's what we did. We were so good. We did everything they told us. Everything. But they continued to be mean to us all the time. I don't know if any human can understand what it is like, not even being able to stand and move your body a little bit, just a little bit. When I came out, I'd lost 10 kilos and I could hardly walk. They called him and took him into the bathroom, and he was there for a long time. And while he came out, he said, "Look, they shaved me like an Arab. They humiliated him." All the terrorists came and stood in front of Keith and laughed. They thought it was such a joke. They shaved underneath his arms and told him to shave at the bottom in his intimate places. And he said that he wasn't going to do that. But they shaved his body. He didn't believe it, that a 20-year-old terrorist would do something to somebody that's 64 years old and force him just to sit there. And I'm there, looking at all that and not being able to help. The only thing I could do is look at the kid's eyes and make him feel that I'm with him, because I was with him, my heart was with him. My heart is with Keith now. It's too much for me to handle. 201 days. Keith's there, thrown in a corner like a rag, because he's treated like a rag. And the leaders of the world need to wake up, because humans shouldn't go through that. He's an innocent, sweet, loving person that was taken out of his home with his pajamas. And now, I don't even know if Keith's alive. I don't know if he's alone. And it's very difficult for me to think about it. If they're nice to him, if they're starving him, if he's got anybody just to share his pain, his fear with.
They were still 51 days after.
Yeah, so many beautiful young kids. It's hard to believe that that they were all just erased in one day. Some of whom are, I don't think there are remnants of them even, but there are headstones here, and this is like a cemetery in a sense.
People that came to be in freedom, and they got the opposite way, and it's the Passover vacation now, and it's you're supposed to celebrate the freedom, and you see, to be here, it's unbelievable. It's very, very hard to think about it, to be here, to see it, to feel it.
Those two kids, you know, Fir and Ariel, his brother. This is his brother. They are not the enemies of the Hamas. They never do nothing bad in their life. And we are really sorry that, you know, everybody in the world is just quiet and he didn't say nothing about it. And the people don't go out enough to the street to scream and to tell that these two kids needs to get back to their home.
Today is the 200th day that we have hostages, kidnapped people, babies, women, old people, soldiers were kidnapped 200 days ago. And my brother-in-law is back there in Gaza, and with 132 more people, it's too much. It needs to be end. We need to have our peace, and the families need to have peace, and this country need to have peace.
Good morning. Morning, sir. It's a good day for America, it's a good day for Europe, and it's a good day for world peace, for real. This is consequential. I just signed into law the national security package that was passed by the House of Representatives this weekend and by the Senate yesterday. It's going to make America safer, it's going to make the world safer, and it continues America's leadership in the world, and everyone knows it. It gives vital support to America's partners, and so they can defend themselves against threats to their sovereignty and to the lives and freedom of their citizens. And it's an investment in our own security, because when our allies are stronger, and I want to make this point again and again, when our allies are stronger, we are stronger. I'm grateful to all those in Congress, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, who voted for this bill. It's a path to my desk. It was a difficult path. It should have been easier, and it should have gotten there sooner. But in the end, we did what America always does. We rose to the moment. We came together, and we got it done. Now, we need to move fast, and we are. Russia has ramped up its airstrikes against Ukrainian cities and critical infrastructure. Rain down munitions on you, brave you. I'm making sure the shipments start right away. In the next few hours, literally the few hours, we're going to begin sending in equipment to Ukraine for air defense munitions, for artillery, for rocket systems, and armored vehicles. You know, this package is literally an investment, not only in Ukraine's security, but in Europe's security, in our own security. We're sending Ukraine equipment from our own stockpiles. Then we'll replenish those stockpiles with new products made by American companies here in America. Our allies in Europe and around the world who've constantly been asking me, are we going to step up? We're not going to walk away, are we? We're all standing together against this brutal dictator. As I've argued for months, this is directly in the United States' national security interest. If Putin triumphs in Ukraine, the next move of Russian forces could very well be a direct attack on a NATO ally. And you all know full well that invoking Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty would be the first thing that comes to mind, which declares an attack on one as an attack on all. If Putin attacks a NATO ally like he's attacking Ukraine today, we'd have no choice but to come to their aid, just like our NATO allies came to our aid after the September 11th attacks here. That's why we're supporting and surging support now to Ukraine, to stop Putin from drawing the United States into a war in Europe and in the future. In the next few hours, literally the few hours, we're going to begin sending in equipment to Ukraine. You know, Putin started this war believing he could easily break the will of the people of Ukraine. When that failed, he changed his strategy a little bit, thinking we could break the will of NATO, break the will of the United States, break our will. Well, he's failed again. America stands with our friends. We stand up against dictators. We bow to no one, certainly not Vladimir Putin. My commitment to Israel, I want to make clear again, is ironclad. The security of Israel is critical. It will always make sure that Israel has what it needs to defend itself against Iran and terrorists it supports. And with this aid, the United States is going to help replenish Israel's air defense and provide other critical defense so Iran can never carry out the destruction it intended with its attack 10 days ago. But at the same time, this bill significantly increases humanitarian assistance we're sending to the innocent people of Gaza who are suffering badly. They're suffering the consequences of this war that Hamas started. And we've been working intently for months to get as much aid to Gaza as possible. This bill includes $1 billion for additional humanitarian aid in Gaza. We're going to immediately secure that aid and surge it, including food, medical supplies, clean water. And Israel must make sure all this aid reaches the Palestinians in Gaza without delay. And everything we do is guided by the ultimate goal of bringing these hostages home, securing a ceasefire, and setting the conditions for an enduring peace. Humanitarian aid in Gaza. We're going to immediately secure that aid and surge it. You know, just this year I proposed and negotiated and agreed to the strongest border security bill this country has ever seen. It was bipartisan. It should have been included in this bill. And I'm determined to get it done for the American people. Come together, despite our differences. I want to thank everyone in Congress who made it possible. I want to thank everyone in Congress who made it possible, especially the bipartisan leadership. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, Leader Jeffries, Leaders Schumer and McConnell. They don't always agree, but when it matters most, they stepped up and did the right thing. And I mean this sincerely. History will remember this time. History will remember this moment.
Will this turn the tide for Ukraine, Mr. Biden? Will you ban TikTok if it doesn't get sold, Mr. President? Would you ban TikTok?
Free Palestine! بتقول لي سيمسك
والله الطبيب
طب اصبروا على الدور انا يلا يا هدى
حد يجي يعبي من هان او من ورا حتى العين وصلت الزلمه تعبايه من الجنب.
طبعا احنا في شمال غزه المحاصر في منطقة جباليا الجرن، بالرغم من الحصار والبيوت المدمرة والأطفال والأبرياء الذين تم قصفهم، إلا أننا نعاني من قلة الأكل والمشرب والماء، حتى سيولة الماء.
لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله والشاهد حبيب الله والشاهد حبيب الله والشاهد حبيب الله قولوا الله قولوا الله تكبير هذا شهيد مش حي الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله والشاهد حبيب الله يوم الشهيد صديقي واحنا كنا اولادك واحنا كنا اولادك
وبالتالي طالما هذا المكتب يؤدي هذا الدور، بمعنى أن هذه جهود الوساطة ما زالت مستمرة، فلا مبرر طبعا لإنهاء وجود المكتب في الدوحة. ولكن حاليا لا أعتقد يمكننا التعليق على مثل هذه التصريحات التي تفضلت فيها. بالنسبة لنا كما قلنا قطر ملتزمة بجهود الوساطة، ولكنها في مرحلة إعادة تقييم.
تركيا رسميا لهذا الفريق، فريق الوساطة. والسؤال الثاني متعلق
hours in advance, so you get much better and more balanced coverage. It's 6:30, so we had extremely short time.
We are horrified also by the destruction of An-Nasser Medical Complex and Al-Shifa Medical Complex, and the reports of the discovery of mass graves in and around facilities. And we call for independent, effective, transparent investigations into the deaths. Given the prevailing climate of impunity, this should include international investigators. Hospitals are entitled to very special protection under international humanitarian law. And let's be clear, the intentional killing of civilians, detainees, and others who are hors de combat is a war crime.
Arrangements that have been confirmed in this legislation.
On this vote, the yeas are 79, the nays are 18. The motion to concur in the House amendment to the Senate amendment to H.R. 815 is agreed to.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now, Mr. President, I move to proceed to executive session to consider calendar number 598. This is an inflection point in history. Western democracy perhaps faced its greatest test since the end of the Cold War. The conflicts we see right now in Europe, in the Middle East, and the tensions of the Indo-Pacific will go a long way in shaping the balance of power between democracy and autocracy in the decades to come, and the consequences for America's long-term security will be profound. Mr. President, today, the Senate sends a unified message to the entire world. America will always defend democracy in its hour of need. We tell our allies, we will stand with you. We tell our adversaries, don't mess with us. We tell the world, we will do everything to defend democracy and our way of life. In a resounding bipartisan vote, the relentless work of 6 long months has paid off. Congress is sending the supplemental to President Biden's desk. Getting this done was one of the greatest achievements the Senate has faced in years, perhaps decades. A lot of people inside and outside the Congress wanted this package to fail. But today, those in Congress who stand on the side of democracy are winning the day.
When Putin escalated his war against Ukraine, I told our colleagues that allies and adversaries alike would pay very close attention to America's response. When Iran-backed terrorists invaded the Jewish state on October 7th to slaughter innocent Israelis, I warned that the world would watch closely for signs that American leadership was actually weakening. For months, our friends have watched to see whether America still had the strength that won the Cold War or the resolve that has underpinned peace and prosperity literally for decades. Our enemies have tested whether the arsenal of democracy is, in fact, built to endure. Well, tonight, the Senate will send a clear message.
Madam President, in the face of increased aggression from these powers, the United States' response needs to be one of strength. And that includes not just having a strong military and a strong economy, but engaging on the global stage. As I said, bad actors will fill any space they think they can fill. And when the United States and other free countries abdicate leadership on the global stage, bad actors will step in to fill the vacuum. The foreign aid contained in this bill is an important part of telegraphing America's refusal to cede the global stage to hostile powers.
What we're doing is a slap in the face to the Americans who sent us here to represent them. Instead of debating legislation to close the border and fix the economy, we're about to send billions of dollars to one of the most corrupt countries in the world. The war in Ukraine is a stalemate, has been for a while. Pouring more money into Ukraine coffers will only prolong the conflict and lead to more loss of life.
I haven't done my speech. Thank you. So, this national security bill is one of the most important measures Congress has passed in a very long time to protect America's security and the security of Western democracy. To our friends in Ukraine, America will soon deliver more ammunition and air defenses and basic supplies you need to resist Putin on the battlefield. I left a message for President Zelensky tonight. He had called me the other day and said, okay, we got it done, now go win the fight.
Senator, how long do you think this package will last? When do you think you might have to come back to do it?
It's a very full package.
Thanks, sir.